you, young lady? You still kicking butt and taking names up there? All right. Hey, let's go out on a limb today and throw the webcam on. You think it'll work? It's hit or miss sometimes with that thing. No, I don't have Ron's cold. For those of you that don't know, first of all, good afternoon. I don't know about you, but it has been the craziest. If you had said to me, Michael, last Thursday, I want you to take as many sleeping pills as you can and fall asleep through the entire weekend and week because you're not going to want to be awake for what's about to happen, I wouldn't have believed you. But looking back, it might have saved a lot of grief. What a weekend. The last 4 or 5 days, personal life, the lives of family and friends, people have just lost their minds. And I look forward to these webinars because you guys are like family. I've known some of you for almost 10 years, so it's good to see you. Backstory quick, Mary asked about if I got someone's cold. Ron is my business partner, and usually I get the deep congestion, violent bronchitis, an acute chronic cough. And this is one of the first or almost 2 years running first year, Mary, where I've made it a whole year with none of that garbage, but he got it. So I don't have it. Thank you, Jesus. Okay, what are we going to talk about? And will you talk about it not so quickly? Let's slow it down. Nice, bright, shiny forehead here. Move out from under that light. Between now and 5:30, 5:15, 5:30, we have a fairly Herculean task. How many of you here today are not existing customers? How many of you today don't own any of our software? You don't have any of the timing tools or training. You're here. I know one guy is. Michael is here. Hey, Michael. How many of you here today don't own the tools and you're here to verify if anything we have to say is worth listening to or bears any weight on your success as a trader or not? Yeah. Demetrios, thank you for that. Michael doesn't have it. Okay, Bert doesn't have it. Susan, you don't have it. Okay, so quite a few people. As I just discussed with somebody here today, what I'm about to show you, everything I'm about to show you, all of the signals were signals that I gave you via the software output for these markets 2 days ago. It's important that we frame this conversation at the very onset, because my premise, my foundational premise for everything I'm about to show you is that I believe, as many of you believe, that the banks have rigged these markets in much the same way as a casino might rig a slot machine or a card game in their favor. And so manipulation of markets is a centuries-old tactic, either via inside trading or high-speed electronic algorithms, black box trading, dark pools. All of these techniques are just variants of the same concept. The 1% of the wealth of the world does not play by the rules of the 99. The 1% achieves 1% status via cheating, manipulation, power, control, having certain people in their pockets, never being held accountable for violating laws, controlling what the laws say, operating in countries where laws don't apply, right? We know all of these things. And yet, for many of you, you come to the markets and you think, surely they're fair, right? We believe that, or many people believe that the markets are just sort of this meeting area where we all agree on whether the price will go up or down. Some of us will be right and some of us will be wrong. However, after 15 years of watching markets and 10 years of being an engineer for software for these markets, I can tell you that having spoken to about 10,000 people, the common consensus and feedback is about 95% of people on any given day are losing. One person who used to work at a brokerage that I met said they had a rule. 90% of people will lose 90% of their account inside of 90 days of opening their account. How many people believe that statement or find it to be consistent with your experience either as a trader or the experiences of traders that you've met? They lose 90% of their account 90% of the time within 90 days. Yeah, right? We all hear these stories. We've met these people. You've been in chat rooms with them, right? In Skype trading rooms with them. We know these people. The worst I ever saw it, this is a true story, a lady named Paula in Texas. She was a special ed teacher and her husband was a contractor. And 90 minutes doesn't count. No, that's an exception to the rule. And Mike, they both quit their jobs. They took their life savings. And Mary, this is a true story. They built a plywood wall in the middle of their living room, just a raw Home Depot, Lowe's Improvements 4x8 sheet wall between the left side of the living room and the right side of the living room. And Paula lost her account in about 4 months. Her husband, the contractor, true story, his account was down to $250. And he wouldn't stop trading. The brokerage at the time said, you have enough leverage to trade one contract. And he told his wife, Michael, he told her, Mary, I'm going to make $250 a day. Even though he only had $250 left in his account. He stayed up about 20 hours a day looking for a low-risk trade. And he believed in his head that he could double his account once a day into infinity and somehow fight this 90% machine. So where do we go? What do I need to show you in the next hour to show you how corrupt the game is? Yeah, Bob, I did say that. It is easier if you wanted to become a Navy SEAL or a neurosurgeon or a heart surgeon, if you wanted to become any one of these higher level, higher functioning, higher education jobs or have those responsibilities, you have a better chance of being those things than, in my experience watching people try, of becoming a pro trader. If I knew, for example, Bob, let's say I have older sons and daughters, right? And somebody called me up and said, hey, that boy you're dating right now, that boy your daughter's dating had 10 girlfriends before your daughter, and 9 of them are pregnant. Bob, would he be dating my daughter? Probably not, right? If you went to an investment firm and you were thinking about giving them your money. And a friend of yours sent you an article, and the article said, this company used to have 9 previous iterations. They've changed the name of the company 9 times, and 9 times out of 10, they've lost all of their clients' money and embezzled most of what was left. Would you invest with that company? Obviously not, right? These are hyperbolic examples. However, when you tell someone from this chair here in beautiful downtown East Bend, North Carolina, in the middle of a former farm, I'm surrounded by clay where people have thrown corn seeds at for well over a century or two. I'm telling you from this chair here in the attic, there is a 90% chance that if you are a pro trader attempter, you will lose not only all of your account, but you're going to spend somewhere in the neighborhood of $25,000 to $30,000 to learn that most of the other vendors, most of the other brokers, most of the other educators were stealing money from you as well, providing no useful information. Been there. Mary, I've been in tears. I almost wasn't friends with Ron, my best friend, over a trade he took. We lost nearly $50,000 in 36 hours. And we had taken an account from $15,000 to $55,000 in 3 months. Bob, we lost it in 36 hours. I was 2 weeks away from quitting my job as the vice president of a machinery company. 2 weeks away from hitting enter on an email I had ready in my drafts section. I get it. 90%. I get the pin too, right? So I've spent the last decade of my life building, reverse engineering the machine. If they don't play by the same rules, what rules are they playing by? What is in this box? What language are they communicating with? It can't be this one-sided and not be organized. It can't be statistically random and have the stats so bad, so horrible on this side. There has to be an organization to it. Every mafia in the world, whether it's the Mexican mafia or in the case of my family's, the Sicilian mafia, my wife's other half of her family, the Cuban mafia, they have rules that they follow. There's an order, there's a structure to their universe. And if you study these cartels long enough, you'll see how they operate. What do they do? How do they communicate? And so when you lose $50,000 in 36 hours, you as an engineer, I as an engineer, am scared to death to go back into that arena, right? And so my loss today has been the gain of about 4,000 customers around the world. I have found my position, my place in this universe. And I've taken apart this machine and I've put it back together, right? And it's taken me almost a decade to find the courage to re-enter that arena. Now, how did I accomplish that? Let's show you the nitty-gritty. Enough talking. We don't want to see your big bald head anymore. Cut it out. So, as I was just discussing with Michael here a second ago, I've built something for you, and it's incredible. In fact, it's the most amazing thing you'll ever see in regards to trading. And it's based on the concept of a predictive behavioral study. And all we're doing, Dimitri, we're analyzing the times that banks manipulate the markets. That's it. We're continually analyzing via high-speed, high-power software the times that banks are manipulating the markets. And the key word here is times. I want you to understand that. Every day, things are happening on a schedule. Think of like a bus schedule or a train schedule. You never go to the airport and decide to get on some random plane. You look at the clock and you look at the internet and you see, okay, if I want to go to West Palm Beach, the flight leaves at 9:35 from Dulles International Airport. I will be there at 9:30 and step on the plane. Okay. You do this in every other area of your life but trading. And banks know this. Hey, Erwin. And so what I do every week is unlike anything any other vendor, any other indicator manufacturer, any other guru, God, I hate that word, any other review site, any other forum guy can do, because it takes about 10 years to reverse engineer what I'm about to show you. And no one is willing to go that long and not fleece tens of thousands of customers in the process with something easier and fake. So we went the hard way. And every Tuesday, I send out histogram forecasts from the software for Wednesday and Thursday. I've done this. I've drawn this chart that I'm showing you here going on 10 years in May. We'll be in business 10 years. And so every Tuesday, I send out an email, and that email has a link. And we'll go over that link. If you are on the mailing list, you get that link for Wednesday and Thursday's markets. Now, what do those histograms look like, and what do they mean? What do they represent? And what you'll see here, Mike, what we just went over, Mary, you know this because you've been watching our software now for a number of months. There are these lines with times on them. There are these lines with times on them. Let me just color this last one in the right color. And so what we're doing today is we're coming out of the markets together to see, did the times and the directions that I gave you on Tuesday work, or did they not work? That's really the only question we have to answer, because they couldn't repaint, they couldn't disappear and reappear. They don't appear later on. I gave you all the signals 2 days ago. So Mike, like we said earlier, this is clearly a review session. You've been trialing my software for 2 days. So what are these histograms? What is this output that I'm speaking about? Let's talk about it. And what you'll see is a very corrupt world. And I caution you right now, if you're a rosy, cheery person and you don't like to look on the dark side of things, then you probably shouldn't watch the rest of this webinar, because it's going to hurt your sensibilities. It's going to insult that core part of you that believes in the better good of people, right? There is nothing good about what I'm about to show you. On Tuesday at 9 o'clock, I think, as a matter of fact, if I go to my personal Gmail account, I get the same emails you guys get. Mary, can you see here where it says Back to the Future Trading? Trade with these bank times today and tomorrow, February 13th. Right, Erwin? Can you see the time? Tuesday, February 13th at 10:10 p.m. I uploaded the webinar forecasts for Tuesday and Wednesday and Thursday, this page. Now, if you're not sure what that was, I'm going to give you a copy of it here so you can follow along. Go ahead and look in your NinjaTrader chat box. Now, here's my thing that I'd like to show you. Mike, as I get further from the email that I sent out, right? So here's Tuesday at 10 p.m. We'll put a big orange line right there. Is it a fair statement, Erwin, the farther I get from the time I sent the email out, the harder it is to predict without being super lucky what the markets are going to do? Is that a fair statement, Mike? The farther I get from the prediction, the lower of it being just sheer luck. Right? Makes sense, right? So what I'm going to do with you here is I'm going to open the forecast for the E-mini S&P, the biggest, most manipulated, corrupted market in the world, if not the universe. And I want to see what it said to watch for. Okay. Here's where it gets good. A 10-year-old, highly advanced, maybe the most complicated algorithm ever created for NinjaTrader. We continually bust NinjaTrader's developers' shoes because our software does things they've told us it shouldn't be able to do. We've engineered it in a way where NinjaTrader's own design team doesn't know how we're doing these things and working around the limitations of their code. We're probably the biggest pains of the asses that NinjaTrader has in terms of developers because we push this program where it would never go. And so here's the secret. Any of the times that the software found above the zero line represent times in the past across thousands of historical bars, Mike, where banks have consistently tried to push prices lower. They represent behavior patterns. How many of you have predictable behavior patterns? Anybody? Anybody have a spouse that's ever said to them, "You're so predictable"? Or have you ever said to a friend or a coworker, "You're so predictable"? All the time. What the computer here has done is it's gone back thousands of historical bars. And it's looking for something that 90% of traders don't believe exists. Consistent movements at key times, pushed by the banks. Now it has to be the banks. If everybody here today joined our accounts together, we don't have enough financial power to push markets that hard. So that's what those blue lines represented. Times where the banks were expected, based on previous behavior patterns, oh, you do that all the time, to do something. Now, vice versa. Any of the times below the zero line, Dimitri, what do you think they represent? What kinds of behavior patterns, Bob, did the software find at these times? Buying pressure, that's right. Banks tried to push, manipulate, corrupt, choreograph. They tried to push the market up at any of the times below the zero line. So Dimitrios, what I've set up here is really quite an experiment, isn't it? Ultimately, what I'm about to show you is a measurement of integrity, honesty, and engineering. Engineering quality. It's a measure of integrity for one reason. Number one, I can't lie about the signals. I can't repaint them. I can't make them disappear and reappear. You've had them for 2 days. It's a measure of honesty because I can't cherry pick, right? Dimitrios, can I show you what happened at one time and not all the others and arise without arising suspicion? Can I cherry pick here or look at one time and cover up all the other times? No, right? We have to look at it in totality. Number three, if the software works, we should see the kinds of movements at these times that we're expecting to see. So if we see a time where the market is supposed to go up, what kind of behavior patterns are we looking for? We're looking for pullbacks and pushes up, or we're looking for chop, with breakouts at that time, right? We know what a buy looks like. We know what a sell looks like. So let's take a look and see what happened at these times 2 days later, the farthest from the predictions that we can get. And look, here's the E-mini S&P. Let's pull the chart out. You can see the times coming up to the right for this evening's session, the Asian session, the London session. All of those times, Michael, are populating the chart out in tomorrow morning right now. Can everybody see that? I am the only software in the world for intraday and daily trading, I believe, that populates the signals in advance. All of these times, Michael, what are we expecting tomorrow at 6:40 Eastern time? What are we expecting tomorrow at 8:10? Buying pressure. Now, what's amazing about this? These signals are already here. They do not appear after the fact. They don't disappear and repaint. They are carved in stone. So, Demetrios, this morning there were no bars on the chart. They were blank. There were no bars this morning on the chart. There were just times and dots over here. Does that make sense? So, what happened at the times? Let's take a look. So here's the Asian session through the London session through the US session. $210, okay. So everybody hang on, ready? $240 we were expecting buying pressure, the market went up. $330 we were expecting selling pressure, the market stopped, paused, went down. That counts as a turn. $545 we were expecting buying pressure, it did not go down. $905 we were expecting selling pressure, it went down. $915 we were expecting buying pressure, it curled right back up. It came and hit the stops. We had chop here. Everybody was screaming, yelling, what'll we do? We knew to wait for the 1010 signal, and the market fell. How far did it fall at 1010? From the open, it didn't go up one tick and dropped all the way down $26. At 11:30 since Tuesday, we've been waiting for a buying pressure move. The banks ended their relentless down move and pushed the market higher. We got to 12:10 lunchtime and the market goes sideways. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 bars for a half an hour, Mary. There's no downward movement. It goes into chop. The next up move was expected at 1 o'clock. The market opened in the direction of the trend. If you traded trend signals, the available profit at these times so far, maximum favorable excursion, include this signal in the direction of the trend for $8. This signal here only went up $2.75. This signal, Mary, had a maximum favorable excursion of $10. This signal at 1 o'clock had a maximum favorable excursion of $9.75. The next signal at 2:25 opened and had a maximum favorable excursion of $7.50. And then, Michael, the signal at 3:50, after you hung up with me, it went straight up into the 405 signal, $9.75. The move we were waiting for down at 1:30 occurred. The move we were waiting for down at 1:05 occurred. And now past the close, who the hell knows what it's going to do. Question. What percentage of the time, Mike, here comes that question, right? If nothing, I'm consistent. What percentage of the time was the software correct in identifying behavior patterns? Was it 0 to 25, 25 to 50, 50 to 75, or 75 to 100? What percentage of the time was the engineering program I developed for traders who've lost everything correct in identifying when to expect the banks to try something, right? Is it okay? Is it okay if I say the answer is somewhere in here? Is anyone's sensibilities, if I say it's somewhere between 60 and 70% of the time, would that be okay? Or let me ask this a better way. If I say it was right at least 6 times out of 10, 6.5 times out of 10, that's pretty good, right? Okay, so remember, this is a measurement of integrity, honesty, and engineering quality. This isn't a measure of my trading prowess, although I'll show you in a minute what I was able to do with these signals in my program today. Okay, piece of advice while we're here. The biggest moves, the most opportunity you have to be profitable with my software, with the tool that I've built and engineered for you. That's my purpose. That's my goal. I build the hammer, you build the house. I intend to build my own house one day with my hammer. I'm getting there. Okay. A lot of people don't like that answer. I don't care. The highest probability signals, Demetrios, will always be the signals in the direction of the trend. You understand what I mean by the trend? If the market is moving up, we want to buy at times where it should go higher. If the market is moving down, we want to sell at times where it should be going lower. Okay, and I'm going to show you examples of those here in a moment. Okay, so one of the first misconceptions people have is that they have to trade every one of the signals. Most of the vendors out there, most of the a-holes that are trying to rip you off, are selling what are known as up-down arrow signals. Anybody ever buy one of those? Their software produces an up arrow that tells you when to buy and a down arrow that tells you when to sell, and you're convinced that by this guru you should do that every time. That's not what this is. This is information, right? I'm going to show you one way to use that information. If we only focus on the times where the market is supposed to go up or down, there are two kinds of signals. Number one, this signal, which is a signal with trend. I'm using a 120 period exponential moving average. I like it. It works pretty good. For 10 years, it's been a good average for me. So what I'm watching for now are signals in the direction of that trend. So if I use these lines, which are just 4 ticks under the low or the high of the candle, I've set that. Mike, if I entered at 240, where would be a good place to get out, Demetrios? If I entered at 240, what would be a good decision for me to get out if all I had was time and trend? That's right. The first place I expect any opposition to my move is at 330. The computer's telling me, hey, they're not going to bother you for at least that long. Can everybody see? That is 7.75. Now, I want to get there, Demetrios, before I hit my stop. And in the software, you'll see I've determined where that line will go by just telling the computer how many ticks away I want it to be. And you'll see that the dot offset here is 5 ticks. So it's 5 ticks away from the high or the low of the signal candle. Okay, so 5:45 comes along. Demetrios, do I hit my stop or my target first? Stop. But did you notice something? It's a small stop. It's 5 ticks. Huh. Yeah. Correct, Seneca. We're looking at the lowest hanging fruit here, right? People who've never seen the software before. Mike, at 9:15, right before the open, look. Stop, right? It hits the stop before it makes it to the target. Everybody with me so far? Okay. Now, 10:10, Demetrios. That candle does not close below the moving average. Can you see it closes right at it, right here? When do I have permission to go short? If I'm trading with a trend signal, I'm waiting for it to close below the moving average. They call that an icebreaker setup. Picture something breaking through the ice, bouncing back up, hitting the ice, and falling. So the entry candle for that is right here. If I was short, we already covered, it went down a total of 20, 25, 26. But Mary, I'd be out by 11:30, right? That's the first place before the buyers start coming back. Okay. So far, look. Using 2-day-old predictive indicators, where are we? We are plus 7.75, minus 1.25, minus 2.25, plus 7.75. Now get ready, there's a small loser coming. Mike, this one closes above the moving average, and when 12:10 gets here, I'm underwater. I'm underwater to the tune of 8 ticks. But what's coming for me at 1 o'clock? At 1 o'clock, I have another train. I have more than I started with. 2:25, Mike, is another train in the direction of the flow. Another fish swimming with the tide. I enter at the close of the candle. Dimitri, I have until 3:05, according to the computer, before that behavior pattern, before they throw the keys in their basket again. If you exit at the beginning of the candle, that's what I've been tracking. Let's not be inconsistent. That's 2.75. They finish at 7 points. Last train, 10-3. Mike, the signal before we hung up, close of the candle to the open of the next candle, is 6.5. So what we've done here is we've identified times in the direction of the trend, right? And we've filtered the higher probability moves. And when we add those up, the winners are 7.5 plus 7.5 plus 3.5 plus 2.5 plus, what is that? 6.5 minus 2 minus 2 minus 1.5. $21. How many dollars is it per dollar in the ES? Okay, so times 50. Between the Asian, London, and US sessions, only trading signals in the direction of the trend with a 5-tick barrier stop from time signal to time signal. There were 5 winners. There were 3 losers. 5 out of 8 is what percent? 5 divided by 8 equals 62. What did I say that the percentage I was comfortable with was? 60 to 70%, right, Mike? And it's $1,000 per contract, which happens to be about half what I ask for the software. Any questions about this so far? The market you trade is not random. It is manipulated. It is choreographed. If you go online and you type manipulation, is someone manipulating the VIX? How Wall Street's fear gauge is being rigged, according to one whistleblower. Everybody knows it's happening. Everybody knows it's happening. I'm the only vendor out of nearly 350 vendors in NinjaTrader who's built something that shows how it works. Take a look at gold futures today. 2 days ago, I sent the forecasts out for gold futures as far out as we can get. Second most popular market to the ES, gold futures. These are the times and directions that a piece of software developed by a chubby engineer in North Carolina produced. These are the times that the software discovered shady stuff was going down. And 2 days later, when we look at this chart, question, Demetrios, are we still in our 60 to 70% window of accuracy? Every signal on this chart has nothing to do with what actually happened today. Every signal on this chart has nothing to do, zero, zilch, nada, nothing to do with what happened today. It is based entirely on times that I sent 18,000 people 2 days ago. When the chart opened today, why are you yelling at us? I don't know, I get excited. When the chart was here, Mary, you know what this looks like. You have the software, right? Mike, this is what it looked like. And these times weren't here. The chart as of midnight last night looked like this, Demetrios, you understand? And as we arrived at these times, look at what we caught the banks doing at those times. And you'll see we have them already for tomorrow. We have them for Monday of next week. Any questions? Stops versus targets. Okay, ready? So yesterday in gold, here's what I'm looking at. Yesterday, what I would look at 8:45 in gold. Here's 2 days worth of signals. Ready? At 8:45, if you took a trend short right here, it would have hit your stop. You'd have lost 10 ticks. You see that? Mike, the candle at 9:15 is below the moving average. Demetrios, it doesn't cross the moving average till here. Here I have permission to go long. I can enter long at the close of the candle. I'm going to put my stop 1 tick below the low of the candle at 0.1. I teach customers to use a 2 or 3 to 1 risk reward ratio. So if you're going to risk this, make sure you make at least twice as much money. So Mary, if I entered here, I would be getting out at 200% of the move in gold, which would have been $700. If you held the signal in gold yesterday using the time that I gave you to the first time counter trend, can you guys read that value? I'll type it for you so you can see it. It's 16.2, which is 162 ticks times $10 a tick equals what? $1,620. Remember, when we did this with the ES across the 3 sessions, it worked out to about $1,100 hypothetical dollars. This is with one contract in one day. Okay. Today during the market, same kind of scenarios, same kind of setups. How many of you get in a position and it immediately goes in the opposite direction? Okay. Let me show you something about that. How do banks trick reasonable people into doing the opposite of what's about to happen? RJ, you ready? If there is a previous swing high right here, Bob, what are people likely to do if they see this? What are people likely to do if they see that? Breakout. They buy the breakout. Okay. Now that you understand, now I want you to look at this in regards to the 925 signal this morning on gold. Do you see that here? So Bob, what was everybody doing at 920 and 925 this morning? They were buying. They were buying the breakout. Everybody. Okay. So theoretically, here's what I believe happens. Right here, Bob, banks invest a little money to pop it up. They invest a little. Now, a little money to them could be 100 contracts. It could be 1,000 contracts, right? So, Bob, they invest a little bit of money and they start a stampede, right? They start a stampede. All the low-risk traders get in, they buy it. Okay. Now, as they're buying it, the banks sell heavily into the rally. So the entire time people are buying, the banks are selling into this candle at what will be the absolute high of the move. This is a psychological move based on fear and greed. I don't want to miss out on the next move. It's an accumulation phase. That's correct. Now, look at what happens here at 925 in gold this morning. And see if you don't see that very thing play out. Look, there's a candle. Look at that wick, Bob. Look at all that selling. The banks must really hate that price, right? And then they prime the pump a little bit. And there's that big fat candle, and every guru in the world has all of their customers going long. Only you know, hey, it's 925. What are you doing? No. Mary, do you see the stop run right here? At 8:35, Can everybody see the stop run here at 7:30? In fact, if you look at today's market, almost everywhere, the majority of the time in gold was a stop run. There's the low, 1025 bike. Do you see it? 1045, we close above the moving average for the first time. We're going up. Oh, man. Here's one. You see these prior swing lows right here, everybody? One tick, Bob. One tick at 140. Prior swing right here, 2 ticks. Prime the pump. You are being led to a slaughter. Everyone who's trying to be profitable is being led to the slaughter every day by banks who use a little bit of money. Okay, I have $100. It's going to cost me $20 to prime the pump. I'm going to get everybody excited. They're going to buy from me at the high, and I'm going to make $200 on that move. So it costs me $10 to make $200. Bob writes, they must have a great time, and the only reason they get tired is because they're tired of laughing. Okay. We have 2 markets so far. Gold, E-mini S&P, where I've been able to show you 60 to 70% of the time the markets are manipulated using program outputs that I can't change once they're sent on Tuesday for Thursday and Wednesday. Okay, you want to see a really weird one? Yesterday, all my troubles seem so far away. We got about 20 minutes left. I'm going to make the most of it. Ready? Yesterday, there was an economic report for the crude futures inventories. Can everybody see what that report was? We'll blow it up. We're going to blow it up. It's the most volatile report in the most volatile market. And I would be stupid to put a forecast out for that market on that day. Would I not be? If I was disingenuous, if I was trying to be a thief or a liar, it would seem counterintuitive, would it not, Demetrios, for me to put out a forecast for crude futures on Wednesday. I would leave that one out. Maybe put bonds, maybe put wheat or soybeans. Watch. Just watch. There are 3 signals surrounding the inventory report. And I'm going to draw a vertical line for each one. We're looking for buying pressure at 1018. And we were looking for buying pressure at 1118. Buying pressure at 1251, buying pressure at 157, and 3 o'clock. If I put vertical lines above me, we'll use those as guides. These are Eastern time, but the times will always appear your local computer time, Bob, right? I happen to be in Eastern time. Okay, what were we expecting at 1042? Selling pressure. We were also expecting selling pressure at 1208, 124, 230, and 530. And so I'm going to go ahead and put vertical lines up here for that. Now remember, if you read the reviews, if you talk to the review sites, what I'm about to show you is impossible. Can't be done. I'm a thief. Bob, did you know that I'm a sleaze? I'm a snake oil salesman. People who've never tried the software have written 500-word reviews and said, I wouldn't waste my time because it can't be done. Let's take a look. Demetrios. Mike. What is happening? What is happening here? Okay, for those of you that were born 1950 to 1960, there, that might elucidate the acronym a little bit more. RJ, does this look like a random market, or were we able to uncover the times well in advance? Let's keep track of it. Ready? 9:48 before the signal, stop out. -8 ticks. 10:18 before the econ, stop out. -21 ticks. 11:18 in the direction of the trend, Mary. 25 ticks. 12:51 in the direction of the trend, 15 ticks, 16 ticks. 1:57 in the direction of the trend at the breakout, 34 ticks. 3 o'clock to 3:30, 4 ticks. Let's do the math, shall we? 25 plus 16 plus 34 plus 4 minus 21 minus 8 equals 50. How many dollars per tick? 10. Hypothetically, times 10 is $500 per contract in one part of the session. Yeah, RJ, that's right. But I'm trying to be, remember what I said, RJ, I don't want to cherry pick. That's what other guys do. And so I want you to see if we apply the rule equally to all of the available signals, right? That's what we would have gotten. Again, just to reinforce, right? This is a measure of integrity, honesty, and engineering quality. Okay, so how many markets have we tried this on so far? Gold, E-mini, S&P, and crude. And out of all three of those so far, using indicators and outputs that I gave to you 2 days ago, can we say, and this isn't for my ego, it's for your benefit, I could care less. I've seen it so many times, I'd see it in my sleep. Mike, can I say, Demetrios, can I say that I've met the burden of proof for my thesis that banks are manipulating the markets at key times? We can, with powerful, highly advanced engineered software, we can anticipate those times into the future, right? Yeah. Any questions? Any questions so far? You are doing really good, by the way, and I am super stoked by your questions. I'm very proud of what you've been able to absorb in a very short period of time. Okay. Let me see if I can find one more market. And I'm almost there. Stand by. No, 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 no. No, 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 no. No, 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 no. Where is it? There it is. Okay. There are people who use the software using longer term horizons, meaning, Mike, they hold trades for longer positions. There are people who use the software for longer positions. CH, that's correct. The times, this is a place where people get hung up. CH, he just wrote, or she, I don't know. Then the banks change the time codes, right? Because CH, what would happen if the times were the same every week? What would happen if the times were the same every week? Would it continue working? Could they get away with it? No. So this is one of the reasons why it's only 60 to 70%, and sometimes more, but usually never more than that. Because the other 30 to 40% of the time, CH, what they're doing is they're destroying old codes and creating new codes. Does that make sense? So it can't be 100% of the time, because that small section of the time you have to create imbalance. You have to create, you have to shake out the unbelievers. You have to shake out the unbelievers. Does that make sense? Okay. So a while ago, I tend to do this on my YouTube channel because I get a little more attention than I used to. And so let me load up my stuff here. If you go to my YouTube channel, a few days ago, I had a video called "Where Does CL Go From Here?" CL up or down. If you've not seen this video, I'm going to go ahead and put a copy of it in the chat box for you to review at a point in time. But I want you to see what I was predicting would happen after studying patterns back to 2011. Can everybody see this on my chart or on the YouTube channel right here? Yes, Sanjay, that's correct. So in the video, when I finished, for all the world to see, and no one does this, I said that the market was going to fall to a specific fib level, the 180 to the 200% level, and then it was going to retrace back up off of that level. And in this YouTube video, you can see as we get closer towards the end, what my prediction was. Using these time codes on a higher time frame, Mike, this is the alpha package, by the way. You asked what the differences were. Mike, I said in that video we were coming down to here, and then what would happen next? We were going to bounce up, right? And I even told you how long it would take to get back to where we were expecting it to go, using 7 years of time-based patterns on an end-of-day scale. Would you like to see what happened in crude after the fact? This video was posted. When was this video posted? February 8th. Can you see that? Just so you know that it's not a farce. And I'm talking loudly because people still will see this and not believe. There's the date that it was published. February 8th. What's today's date? Today's the 15th. It's a week later. You want to see what happened a week later? Where's the fib, Melissa? Ready? There's the 180. Right there. The forecast, we were at 61.30 at the time. If you traded it to the 180, you want to see how many ticks it was? $300 ticks. You want to know how far the bounce has been so far off of that? 300 ticks, 330 ticks. One contract, 600 times $10 per tick is $6,000. Melissa, you want to know how far past the fib it went? A fib that I invented, by the way. The 180 was the measurement of the pattern for the last 7 years. It went 27 ticks against you. Your maximum risk from the 180 to the 200 below that was 65 ticks to get 330. That's over a 5-to-1 risk reward using nothing but a time signal. So this works on a daily chart as well as, get that guy off of there, an intraday chart. I haven't left any room for doubt, or much room for doubt, I should say. Would you agree? Mike, was the mini Dow random this afternoon? Was it in our 60 to 70% window of accuracy, up to and including the close? If you look at the day in its entirety, was the Dow random? No. We caught them with their hands in the cookie jar, time after time after time after time. We caught them in the shorts. We caught them in the longs. As a matter of fact, in my pro room, I specifically show people entries and exits. And I wanted you to see for my account performance on Wednesday, the times that I gave everybody out that day. With one contract, I want you to see in the 3 hours I teach the class, I made $410 on the simulator, showing the entries and exits, recorded the whole thing. Between Wednesday and Thursday, if you add up all of the signals that I showed, it was $722.50. Just using the charts that I'm showing you here today and the setups that I've been teaching you every Thursday at this time. So across those 6 hours, $722 per contract using the times. Now, it's important to mention a few things before we continue, because otherwise I could get in trouble, you could get in trouble, and nobody here wants to risk that. So before we continue, let me just make sure you understand a few things. Number one, hypothetical or simulated performance results have certain limitations. Unlike an actual performance record, simulated results do not represent actual trading. Also, since the trades have not been executed, the results may have under or overcompensated for the impact of any of several market factors, such as lack of liquidity. Simulated trading programs in general are also subject to the fact that they are designed with the benefit of hindsight. No representation is being made that any account will or is likely to achieve profit or losses similar to those shown. Every effort has been made to accurately represent this product and its potential. There is no guarantee that you will or earn any money using the techniques, ideas, or products presented on our website. Examples on our website or during the webinar are not to be interpreted as a promise or a guarantee of earnings. I need to show you that, and any vendor who doesn't show you that is probably lying to you, trying to steal your money. Trading is risky. You should never trade with money you cannot afford to lose. We are not registered CTAs. You should seek and consider specific investment advice from professional registered traders. No representation being made that any account will or is likely to achieve profits or losses similar to those discussed in any material on this website or during the webinar. Okay. That stated, holy cow. We've looked together at gold. We looked at the ES. We looked at crude. We looked at crude on a 3-minute chart, and we looked at it on an end of day chart. On the 3-minute chart, on one day, it was up 500 hypothetical dollars. On the end of day chart, it was up $6,000 per contract using nothing but time signals. Is there anyone uncomfortable with me saying, hey, we've met the burden of proof. I've shown you a way. I've designed the machine, the time machine that will go back into the past, tell you what sports events to bet on in the future, and which teams will win more often than not, i.e. Back to the Future trading, right? Do you get the reference now? Yeah. We've met the burden of proof. Together, you have been part of an experiment designed to discover whether or not the banks can be caught cheating at the game. Any questions before I show you how to get it? I'm going to show you one last market that I want to analyze with you, because this does work on Forex. It does work on stocks and commodities. It works on equities, works on ETFs, anything you have a historical data feed for. This signal right now is the tachyon daily cycle marker from the alpha package. And I want you to see that we are coming into a phase 4. Mary, based on Bob, Mike, Demetrios, based on what we know about stop runs and stop runs where they occur, what do you think is likely to happen in the euro dollar over the next day or two? Anybody? What do you think banks are likely to do in the euro dollar with this selling pressure time signal on the screen right now? Anybody's guess? Let's see how much you've learned in the last hour. Stop, run, and dump. Hit the bid down. Woo! There you go. You are so smart. Woo! We come over here. Now, what potential does that create? Ready? If you're trading the euro dollar now, and you know this on a daily chart, how many ticks are available between here and the high? Well, as of right now, there are 32 pips available. And Mary, the lower it goes before it hits that stop, the more potential there is. Is everybody with me so far? There's at least 30 pips to the high. Can I then, on an intraday basis, if I have the time warp, Demetrios, can I look for signals that are long signals in the euro dollar in the future that might push me towards the high on a lower time frame? Huh. So those of you that use higher time frame confirmation, you might want to consider upgrading to the alpha package that has the end of day stuff on it too. We just uploaded a great video on our YouTube channel concerning what we're looking for to happen in bonds. Melissa, you might want to watch that one. It is pretty good analysis. Okay. So, how do we get this? Michael, I want to own it. Stop teasing me. But wait, there's more. How much would you expect to pay for this sham wow? Well, here's how we do it. And I promised we'd be finished by quarter after. Here we are. If you go to our website, if you want my body and you think I'm sexy, that's horrible. You click on the product store, you'll see that there are different packages available. The very base, if you just wanted something to analyze some times and get in the neighborhood, Tachyon Prime is our base entry product. It costs $19.99. and it doesn't do a quarter of what Warp does. It's not as accurate, but it's a good entry-level product. Today, Warp, if you go all the way to the bottom of that page, and you were going to buy it like most of the people do, Mike, Warp costs $24.95. It's $500 more. What we do in the webinars to encourage people, if you look in your chat box, I'm putting the link. Everybody see that link in their chat box? I just put it in. If you click on that buy now button, you'll see it says $24.95. I don't want you to have a purchase regret by buying Prime and think to yourself, man, I should have got Warp. So there's a promo code, WARPOFF. Warp off, man. I will copy and paste that into your chat box as well to prove to you that I don't want to rip you off. If you apply that promo code, Demetrios, Mike, it takes $500 off the price. So I'm giving you the Warp stuff for the Prime price. Does that make sense? Now, what does that come with? How do you train me? What do I get? Do you just dump me off on an island somewhere and I got to figure it out on my own? No. It comes with two computer. Well, let's start here. It comes with free installation. We're going to install it for you. This works on Ninja 7 or Ninja 8. This comes with 2 one-hour mentoring sessions with me. I'm going to install my settings, my parameters, my workspaces, all of my best practices after 10 years on your computer. The second session, Demetrios, Mike, we're going to go over entries and exits, build a trading plan that you can go back and back test. You will have homework. You will be held accountable for that homework. You will have unlimited access to Rachel's basic training room. Okay, that's where basic questions are answered about the software. What does this do? What does that do? How do I change this? What happens if I change that? Live in the markets 3 days a week, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. We do have a pro room for customers that are not in the basic area, so we don't confuse the two people. The pro room is $95 per month. And we record all of the sessions in the pro room. That's where I'm showing the entries and the exits. You will have free updates to the indicator for life. You will have 2 machine IDs, 2 computers to work with. Okay, you will also have free access to our training video archive, where all the classes we've recorded are stored. So you have live in the market training, you have one-on-one personal training, you have video classes recorded for weekends and evenings when you can't get to those classes, or if you like to learn at your own pace. All of that for a price that we got half of in one market, in one day, with one contract across those sessions right there. The same thing that we did with CL, with GC, all of those signals and setups. So it's kind of ridiculous if you read something online from somebody who said I was a crook or a thief or a sleaze. It's kind of ridiculous if you read a review online from somebody who says he's never shown a live signal in a room. It's kind of ridiculous if you talk to somebody who says it was impossible for that to work. There's no way that it could do what it did, right? And yet, when we come and we look at the signals, market after market after market, and we see what happens at those times. If you looked at the NQ at 1:31 this afternoon in the direction of the trend and you sat patiently and waited for it, it went. Wait for it. $10. $10, it's $20 per dollar, it's $200 per contract. Seriously. Okay, well, what if you traded through the afternoon using the signals and the times and the trend that I gave you? Ready? Heavens to Betsy, there was a stop out. Aww, minus 2.75. Guess what? It happened again. We tested it, minus 1.25. Next signal, though, Friday's coming. Went up $12. Plus 10, plus 12, minus 1, minus 2. Next signal here, how far did we get? Plus $1.50. At the close, ready? Using the signal that I gave you from here to here is 14. 14, 15, 27, 37, minus 2 is 35, minus 3 is 32. $32 times $20 per dollar is $640. The crude was $500. The ES was $1,000. 3 markets, 1 contract is the price of the software across 1 to 2 days. I think you're silly. Now that you know that you can have this, now that you know that it's available, now that you know what training comes with it, then I'm going to give you all of the setups and signals that I teach. To look at that and believe anything other than what you saw, that the banks are manipulating the markets 50 to 60 to 70+% of the time. We can come at it with the signals in the direction of the trend. We can use 2 to 3 to 1 risk reward ratios. We can attack these things and trade when the banks trade. To know that it's possible, to know that the answer to the question, why is it so hard to trade, is answerable, right? And to still continue forward tells me something. It tells me that you're still gambling. My favorite quote, I'm going to leave you with this. You win battles by knowing the enemy's timing and using a timing which the enemy does not expect. Make no mistake about it. The 1% has zero interest in your family's prosperity, has zero interest in the hopes and dreams you have to leave your trucking job, to leave your cubicle job, to leave your contracting job. They have zero interest in accelerating your growth as a trader. Their only purpose is to consume wealth, create, rob, destroy, amass power, amass finance, amass influence. They do not expect you to look at the times they are doing these things. They do not expect you to maintain discipline and test those times to see if this is one of the times that they're going to do it, or one of the times, like RJ said, that they're going to mix it up a little bit just to keep you off the scent. They don't expect you to sit through 1 hour of crazy guy. And so about 10% of people who hear this message respond. After about 10 years, we have 3,500, 4,000 customers for about the 20 or 30,000 people who've seen it so far, which is consistent with my 90 days. 90% of traders will lose 90% of their account in 90 days. You were playing on an unlevel field. You never had a chance. You'll never have a chance to play with the rules, to play with the indicators, to play with the education you've been given, the WYSIWYG, crazy up-down indicators, volume, all that other crazy crap. These levels, this thing, that thing, the other thing, the latest, greatest, most colorful, noisiest, Ninja Trader, Trade Station, Thinkorswim, partner, ecosystem, blah, 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 blah. You are up against a cartel. You are walking into a casino with a pocket full of cash, and their lips are drooling to get at your 401k, to get at your inheritance, to get at your life savings. Do not for a moment think that you're going to be the one guy, you're going to be the one lady who somehow puts it all together and puts together a magical setup. You don't have enough cash, resources, or time. It's a matter of time, and you're going to lose. You can lose $50,000 in 36 hours. I've seen it. It almost destroyed my family. I've spent 10 years building a weapon. And between all of the customers that are using the software, I would say, Melissa, have we made a dent, customers? Have we taken back some of what they took from everybody else? Have I had my revenge in some way, shape, or form for all of the people and all the lives that have been crushed and destroyed? Yeah, we've made a few dents, but I'm not finished. So between the packages that are available, Prime is the intro. Prime is the package for people that are trading intraday and want to use time. And again, that one costs $19.95. Warp is the intraday timing package, and I'm giving that away for $19.95. It's normally $24.95. Alpha, who asked that question? Frank. Alpha is an end of day package, or package for daily bars. And that software is actually on sale for $19.95 as well. If you need a promo code for that, let me know. And that is separate too. So if you're using Alpha, Frank, you're using it for options. You're using it for buy and hold positions. You use a lot of times for Forex trades. Forex traders will use the Alpha package to look at longer terms. Sanjay, if you have the software, you can subscribe to the Pro Training Room. Yes. If you don't have the software, it's for customers only. All right, guys, I want to thank you. Thank you. Ladies, I'd like to thank you. Mary, Melissa, always as well. The ladies of the group represent. It is a privilege. It is an honor. And it's what I love. I love this more than anything in the world. I've never had as much fun. I've never felt as fulfilled. And I've never enjoyed anything as much as what I do here every Thursday with you. Be encouraged. Be proud of yourself. You're learning something that very few people take the time to learn. Solomon said, everything that has been will be again. There is nothing new under the sun. Gann said, some 5,000 years later, 4,000 years later, William Delbert Gann from Lufkin, Texas said, God, I can't think of it. Time is the most important factor in determining market movements, and by studying the past records of the averages, you will be able to determine for yourself that history does repeat, and by knowing the past, you can tell the future. Michael Leidick, 2018. You win battles by knowing the enemy's timing and using a timing which the enemy does not expect. This is a centuries-old quote. I'm stealing it. I think it applies. Be encouraged. There are those of you here today who are determined to be profitable. You are determined to create a new life for yourself. You are determined to augment, supplement, or replace your income. Be encouraged. There is hope. You do not have to be part of the 90% of people who are losing day after day after day. Take what I've built. I've been an engineer now, my diploma hanging back there on the wall now for 1992, 93, 25 years. I build stuff. I'm a poor Tony Stark. Middle income Tony Stark. I've been building things my whole life. I've been building things for other people to help them make money, whether it's an attachment for a sewing machine for a seamstress at a mattress factory in Albany, New York, whether it's a machine that puts tags in shirts in Boston at a warehouse for Marshall's clothing company. I've always built stuff that made people's lives easier, help them make money faster, less exertion. And this isn't any different. I have, if nothing else, been consistent in what I've built and why I've built what I've built for people. And I'd love for you to take advantage of the tool. Tell me how you're doing with it. Share your inspirational stories with me. It keeps me going. It helps me get through the maze of the lies online and the people that are posting false reviews and other vendors that are posting false reviews. So all the fake news to keep you from getting to this point and seeing for yourself what could happen if you just waited for the times the banks were ready to throw their keys in the basket. So it's been my honor. Yes, Frank, the pro room, we meet. I open the room. I try to be there at 8 o'clock Eastern time. We go through till 11:30, and I give signals out, and we talk through the setups. Again, if you go to our YouTube channel, I think I posted one of the days on there if you wanted to see. I actually posted what goes on in a live room. You see here, Frank, where it says trading with time signals? Is this the room? No, that's the webinar. Where's the other one? Hold on. There it is. Live demonstration of predictive signals. Frank, here's the link. Do you see it in the chat box? Okay. So yeah, I have nothing to hide. I'm a very bad liar. And I'm a very bad sneak. My wife jokes, Melissa, with my older son, something really scary happened over the weekend, and we needed to know the truth about something from him. And you'd have been so proud of her. She looked at him and she said, "Don't even try to lie to me. I can tell the second that you're lying." And he knew. He's like, "Look, this is what happened. This is exactly what happened. This is exactly where I was. These are all my text messages to this person." This he didn't even try. He just broke. He would be in witness protection so fast your head would spin. So yeah, Frank, check it out. Go through it. I am 46 years old. My goal is, after what I've built here, as I go into my late 40s, early 50s, I want to start to pass the responsibility of teaching this to someone else. And I want to focus more and more, Frank, on just trading for myself. I'm getting to that point where it's getting harder and harder to withstand the criticism and the vitriol and the lies. It's not easy doing this every week. In fact, it'll put you in therapy. And my goal is to, as I get into that next third of my life, I That's really all I want to do. And I'm basically showing you the house that I've built to live in. This is my trading house. And I'd love for you to build your own house with it. I think that would be awesome. But in a few days, tomorrow, I'm going to drop off my son's Eagle Scout paperwork. And here, 1989, Melissa, check this out. Not that this should convince you of anything. I could be the biggest liar on the face of the earth. But I showed this to my son the other day. Can you see it? That is my merit badge sash from my Eagle Scout ceremony. Badges. We don't need no stinking badges. I found the other day. You know what this is? It's my advancement book. I went through and I found my my Scout handbook. The cover isn't on it anymore, right? But you can still see the picture of the guy building the fort and the plants, and there's the ceremonies and stuff. That's who you're dealing with. And I do make mistakes. I do fall short. I lose my temper sometimes with people in webinars that push my buttons a little too hard. But I've gotten way better. As I get older, I think we get softer. And I think our corners and our edges get rounder. And this has been good for me. This has been very good for me. It's taught me a lot about myself, how to work with other people, how to teach other people, and be taught. I'm being taught by my customers as I teach them. And I think that harmony is what makes it work. So, hey, I'm way past my hour. Thank you for your time. Please take advantage of the link